Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Recap, my opportunity to review for you the key parts of my teaching last Sunday at the Cornerstone, which was June the 18th. I taught through Revelation chapter 13, part of a series called Understanding the Times. Now, Revelation 13 is quite famous because it has the two beasts, and everybody wants to identify one of the beasts as the Antichrist. And so people spend a lot of time trying to figure out who that is and when he's going to appear on the scene and so on. I actually don't think that's the purpose of Revelation 13. It was written in the first century to Christians in Turkey who were suffering under the Roman government's oppressive regime. And there was a lot of pressure on them to compromise their Christian faith and to worship the Caesars who claimed divine status. There's also a lot of pressure on them to get involved in the polytheistic cults and to worship the various gods in the pantheon of the Romans and the Greeks. And so Christians were feeling it. Some of them had been imprisoned, some of them had been executed, and probably all of them had suffered some kind of economic and social disadvantages because they refused to compromise their faith in Jesus. And the two beasts are representative, they're symbolic of powerful entities empowered by Satan that come against Christianity and Christians individually and together as churches. And the first beast who comes out of the sea represents governments, and I would say today even massive multinational corporations. And then the second beast who comes out of the earth represents false religions, cults, and religions that are godless or opposed to the Christian faith, and so on. Both of these beasts, their goal is to drive people away from God and away from faith in Jesus Christ into the worship of false deities and ultimately, actually, the worship of Satan. And unfortunately, the people of the world are all too happy to give their allegiance in that direction and to continue the trajectory of their lives, which is away from God. Now, I mentioned in the introduction to my teaching on Sunday that we live in a world that is becoming increasingly hostile to the Christian faith. Even here in our context, we're beginning to feel a lot of pressure to compromise our faith. It comes from within the church, it comes from the community, it comes from governments, it comes from religions, it comes from all over the place. And I said this: either Jesus is worthy of our 100% commitment, or he's not worthy of any commitment at all. And I really think we're going to discover the truth of that in the days ahead. Now, here's something to consider. Revelation 13 really sort of reflects or riffs off of Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7 reveals a couple of things that are very important for us. Number one, empires have always risen and fallen, risen and fallen, risen and fallen. No regime, no corporation, no powerful entity in the world ever exists forever. Satan has to keep on switching who he's empowering because the ones he empowers dies and pass off the scene. That's the first thing. Second thing in Daniel 7 is this. Daniel's vision of these beasts who are rulers and so on actually then culminates in another vision of the Ancient of Days, who is God, handing over all authority over the earth, not to Satan, but to somebody who's called the Son of Man. And the Son of Man is given an eternal kingdom. And the third thing Daniel chapter 7 tells us is that the saints of the Most High, if they prevail in faith, if they endure in their commitment to God in the case of Daniel 7, and to Jesus Christ in the case of Revelation 13, if they endure in their faith, they will inherit the eternal kingdom forever and ever. And so the message of Daniel is also the message of Revelation 13. And that is, these powerful entities rise and fall. They rise and fall. They'll rise and fall until the end. But Jesus Christ is the eternal ruler over everything, who never passes off the scene. And if we're faithful to Jesus, who is God in flesh, then we will inherit his eternal kingdom forever and ever. And I think that is exactly what we need as a church. We need to hear that, we need to live that, and we must not give an inch to those who try to persuade us to compromise our faith. And that's it. What I would say to you as a takeaway, which I gave to the congregation on Sunday, is this: let's do all that we can individually and together in our small groups and then other groups. Let's do everything we can as families and as a whole church to develop a fiery, uncompromising, committed faith in Jesus Christ. That's what's going to stand us in good stead in the days ahead. Don't give an inch to those who want us to compromise. Keep firmly planted, rooted into Jesus Christ himself. Okay, that's it. Great to talk to you today, and I'll see you next time.